Good morning, Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. Thank you so much for dropping by. What do you do when your relationship in the Philippines is over? When there's no fixing the relationship with your Philippine partner? Well, you know what? We should talk about that.
Why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you. I think there's beauty in the gray, the cold, but you just want the gold. And there's no way I can beat it, cause I got no chance, no chance when it comes to her. She got the glitter and the fame, and I just wasn't enough.
Okay. What do you do when that happens? What do you do when your relationship is over? You know, there's no shortage on YouTube of Filipina, Westerner, foreigner, whatever relationships that end. And for some of them, they end disastrously. Some of them, they end amicably. Some of them are just lost in translation. And that's the honest truth. But what happens? Well, I'll tell you, a lot of things happen, but you've got to get back to basics. First off, it doesn't happen just in the Philippines. It happens everywhere, okay? It happens in every country. It happens across all level of socioeconomic positions, all right? The rich end just like the poor. That's just a fact, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, most of us have been there before. That's why we're here. That's why you're in that relationship. I don't know anybody that came to the Philippines that hadn't in their lifetime already been in a relationship, whether it was a long-term boyfriend, girlfriend, live-in type situation or married. Either way, okay? We've all been there. And guess what? You're still there. You are still around, all right? That's the first clue. Now, when these things happen, it's not fun, okay? It just simply isn't. But it happens. It's not fun, but it does happen. And because it happens, maybe you should keep it in the back of your mind, just like your previous positions. Okay? We all learn from our past. Whether we learn from mistakes or from other people's actions, we learn from our past. It's not easy. You know what? Even in those relationships that amicably dissolve, it's not easy. You can't be with somebody for a long period of time, be it 6 months, 6 years, whatever, without caring for that individual and not feeling cared for. So therefore, it's not easy, but it happens. And the fact is, it's going to continue to happen. When the statistics show that 50% of relationships fail, they fail. All right? The objective here is what happens if you fall in the negative side of that 50%. Well, first off, don't be vindictive. Don't be petty. Don't be arrogant. All right? Don't think because you're the person with the money, they're going to just fall in line. You need to learn to accept it. You need to learn to embrace it. And I'll tell you why that's important. It's because you've got to move on. I'm not saying jump into another relationship. That's the last thing I'm saying. What I'm saying is for your own mental health, you need to move on. You need to get past the point that says, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to suffer through it. I'm going to do this. My heart is so broken. Okay. That's already done. If the relationship has failed, that's the way it is. Now, can you leave the doors open for, recovery, for a second chance, for something like that? Sure, you can. Why not? And that's where being vindictive makes a difference. If you're a vindictive asshole, guess what? Women don't respond to that well at all. Now, on the other hand, it might be that they're being vindictive. Guess what? There's very little you can do here in the Philippines. I don't care what you have in the relationship. Odds are you have very few rights in comparison to theirs when it comes to what's in the relationship. Okay? Don't try and recoup it. You can't squeeze, blood out of a stone. You can't do that. It's going to get you nowhere, and it's going to continue to frustrate you. Don't stay in a deteriorating position. Okay? What happens is you may not want to move. You may not want to do this. You may not want to do that. And it puts you in a confrontational position on a daily, semi-daily, weekly, sometimes hourly basis. Okay? Don't push it. Be ready to simply move on. We talk about emergency funds. You need enough money to get back to the States if there's an emergency, or to wherever you're from. You need enough money for medical because you never know what's going to happen. Guess what? You may need another set aside, or you may need to temporarily dip into that emergency fund to relocate. And I suggest, if it's come to that point in time, you relocate very wisely. Odds are you probably have a social circle. Odds are you're used to the people in that surrounding area. How where you are in that situation will vary. And that is going to really impact what it is that you have options for. Some of you may not have options to move to a whole new city. Some of you may not have options to relocate to a whole new island. Some of you have developed friendships and social circles that intertwine with your partner or ex-partner. Okay? You've got to be wise about those decisions. You came here knowing so very few people. You can move knowing so very few people. You can stay in the general area, but just be cautious of how and where you do things. But the real crux of it, the bottom line, are two simple things. Number one, implement. Be prepared when it ends to move on. If you don't move on, you're in for a world of agony. It just is that simple. The second thing is your mental health. And I don't give a shit. There's so many of us that say we're strong, we're this, we're that. Okay? Great. They're not. Ending any relationship takes its toll. Your mental health is more important than any assets you may have to leave behind. We've said this before. The three most important things. Number one, be very, very careful about relationships that you get into. Number two, always have an emergency fund. Okay? And then finally, your assets that you invest into the Philippines should be no more than what you're more than willing to walk away from. And you can't, there's a very little movement or argument for movement in that. Those three things are the most important. Be strong enough to pick up your boots and go on. Don't let it bring you down. All right. You should reflect. Is this or was this my fault? Was I a part of the problem? Did I choose wrong? Answer those questions yourself. Okay. But honestly answer them. Answer them in all honesty. Don't discuss them with other people. That's going to cause you to second guess yourself or to fabricate the reality that you want to yourself in your mind. Answer yourself honestly. That's before you even go into another relationship, that's the first and most important thing. There's just no other way to describe it. Now, in the comments below, I would like to ask a couple of things. The first one is if you had a relationship that ended with a Filipina, were there warning signs? And if there were warning signs, what were they? Secondly, what did you do? All right, be honest. All right, we would really appreciate you being honest about it. But we want to know how that works. Otherwise, thank you for being a subscriber, a viewer, a supporter, whatever it is. And thank you so much for watching. Finally, have a great, safe day.